Dear students, once again welcome to English literature class. Myself Shailesh Kumar, assistant professor in English. So today we are going to start a very famous poem, Thoughts in a Garden by Andrew Marvell. Thoughts in a Garden, composed by Andrew Marvell. Whenever we listen the name of Andrew Marvell, we find Andrew Marvell was a metaphysical poet, and Andrew Marvell was the great lover of nature. Andrew Marvell was born in 1621 and died in 1678. Andrew Marvell was a metaphysical poet, politician, and satirist also. The poem is written in heroic couplet. If you talk about the famous creations by Andrew Marvell to his co-mistress and Horatian ode, The Garden, or we can say Thoughts in a Garden. Both romantic and classical elements. We see both romantic and classical elements in his poems. Lover of nature. And when we read the poem composed by Andrew Marvell, we see that Andrew Marvell was the greatest lover of nature. It is a romantic poem because the subject and theme of the poem is nature. Because the subject and theme, when we see the title garden represents nature. So subject and theme of the poem is nature. And in the poem, we see poet's personal and emotional feelings about life in the nature. It is a metaphysical poem because in the poem we see there are so many uses of metaphysical conceits, far-fetched images. It is a classical poem also. Rhythm, rhyme, and word choice are like a classical poetry. Thoughts in a Garden by Andrew Marvell, the main theme of the poem. If we see the main theme of the poem is very fascinating, is very fantastic, and the main theme motivate us how to live your life in a better way in this world. And the main theme suggests us that we are living in a materialistic life. We have been more and more materialistic. And what is the real thing? Nature. Nature is the real thing. And somewhere we always do not care about nature. Peaceful life in the nature is more satisfying than social life and human company. So the poet Andrew Marvell gives a great message to all human beings that if you want to live your life with peace, so you will have to make the company of nature, because the company of nature is more satisfying than the company of social life and human company. So here nature is important than social life and human company. So the main theme is very fantastic by Andrew Marvell. And Andrew Marvell gives us a lesson regarding our life. In the poem, the title garden, the symbol of nature, garden represents nature. In garden, we get physical, mental and spiritual comfort and satisfaction. So, in garden means when we go in nature, in the lap of nature, we get physical, not only physical but also mental comfort and spiritual comfort and satisfaction. So if according to Andrew Marvell, if a person wants to get peace in his life, so he should go in the company of nature. And in nature, all human beings will feel spiritual, mental, physical comfort. In society, if we talk about society, the pleasure is false and temporary. Andrew Marvell mentions in his poem Thoughts in a Garden that if you talk about a society, we see that in society we are living a fake life. In society we can't get the real pleasure, the real satisfaction, the real comfort, the real peace. In society, the pleasure we are getting in society, or we can say the pleasure we are getting while in the company of society, is false and temporary. Nature is a complete luxury place. In the poem, the poet mentions that if you want to live a luxury life, so nature is a complete luxury place. The poet criticizes the society and the busy worldly life. Even if we see at present we see that all human beings are busy in his life. All human beings are involved with society, and I think their thinking has been deteriorated due to society and due to the mentality of busy life. And Andrew Marvell criticizes the society and the busy worldly life in the poem. The poet personifies the quietness and innocence in the nature. In the poem, the poet Andrew Marvell personifies quietness, peace, innocence in the nature. The poet calls trees amorous, odd emotion and attachment with trees. Odd emotion and attachment with trees. Here the poet talks about sexual attachment. The poet criticizes lovers by cutting trees to write their beloved's name. So Andrew Marvell wants to convey a message to all human beings that lover and beloved are always involved in a very bad activity, that when they go at a natural place where they find trees and the lover tries to cut the tree to write his beloved's name. So it is not good thing, because while doing this, lover and beloved are spoiling the nature, and nature is the supreme, nature is the real, nature is the original thing. So that's why we should not spoil, we should not destroy natural elements. When love and youth of man is finished, they go to nature. And the poet mentions in his poem that when love and youth, or we can say when a man who has been old always go in the lap of nature. Sensuous description about his physical pleasure. The pleasure has a spiritual aspects. We cannot get genuine pleasure without the nature. So, physical pleasure, if you talk about physical pleasure and as well as spiritual, without nature, we can't get genuine pleasure. So, if we want to get the genuine pleasure, we will have to follow the path of nature. The poet compares himself with the lonely Adam in the garden. Being lonely is a paradise. Being lonely is a paradise.